welcome back to Mamalogue. My name's Katie. This episode is going to share everything to get you started with EC. So firstly, I've got all my different potties. I am 40 weeks pregnant tomorrow, so if I'm a bit slow, that's why. We started when my son was 5 weeks old and we used this exact potty. It's really good for little boys because of this lip. I'm going to use this baby to demonstrate what we did. So you hold this in your legs like this. You might be sat on a sofa or a chair, and then you just grip there. You hold the baby's legs like this and just hold them over the potty. And then if anything sprays up, the lip catches it and it's very clean. You just hold the baby's thighs like this, and that's a really good position for them to get rid of any waste. If you can imagine, like if you're laying down, you'd find it really hard to go to the toilet and do a number two. We also, for this time, got this other potty. Now, they're both called top hat potties, and they're very, very small. They're good for newborns. But this one just doesn't have the lip. So you do exactly the same thing. You just put it between your thighs and you put baby on. I think this might be better for girls, but I've never had a girl. I've only had one boy. So that's why I bought it this time. We don't know what we're having, a boy or a girl. And I thought, let's just try something new. We bought this baby for my son to get him used to having a baby around the house, and maybe he can copy with me. He's already been actually putting the baby on the potty and going shh. So he's getting it. You can also get these like little cotton elastic things to put around the potty, just like this, so that if your baby's bottom touches it, it's not cold for them. We used it a little bit, not too much. You can put it on the one with a lip. Let me show you. It's just not quite as easy. So it does stretch over like so. They're brilliant for 0 to, I would say, around 6 months. These potties. The reason for that is the baby isn't usually sitting unaided by this point. Every baby's different, so you might find when your baby can sit unsupported that these are no longer the best option for them, but they're really brilliant for newborns. So then we moved on to this IKEA potty. Now there's probably many potties that are very similar to this. We just happen to use this one, and your baby can sit on there quite well. What I used to do at the beginning, when they could sit unaided, but possibly their legs weren't long enough to touch the floor and then they were sort of dangling, I would put it in front of me like this, the baby in front. Now this takes a little bit of getting used to for baby, because they're used to having your support, so they lean on your back when you use the top hat potties. But with this one, they're facing you, so it's a little bit of a change. And you both just need to get used to that. There's a little bit of a teething, moment when you start doing this. But if you sit them like this, obviously this baby doesn't have very long legs, but your baby will have longer legs. And they can just rest their legs on your legs to give them a bit more stability and support. And then as they get bigger, they can rest their feet on the floor and they can get up and down from the potty very easily. But at the beginning, when they first start doing this, there's not really that option. So you just look at them, you play with them. This is actually quite a nice transition, I think, because you've gone from having their back on your back, so you're not really interacting with them that much, to actually interacting with them, and you can read books, you can sing songs together, and it's lovely. This is a chance to really bond with your baby, and it will keep them occupied as well on the potty. So you don't want to keep them there too long, but you also don't want them wanting to get up straight away because they haven't had a chance to relax and actually go. With the top hat potties, when you're emptying them, you just empty them into the toilet, maybe swill them with water, empty them again, empty back, and then it's clean. With this one, you don't want to take this gigantic thing every time to the toilet, so it actually has an insert that you can easily clean in the same way as the top hat potties. This one is the carry potty. Again, this is just the one we use. There's probably other ones, but we really like this because if they go in it when you're out and about, it's not going to leak. So it's very pressurized. You turn this and you open it. The other really good thing with little ones on the potty is they can easily get their legs on the floor and they can just sit quite comfortably. So it's a really good one for that too. But you can just take it out and about with you and just shut it when you need to. Just pour it on the trees when you're out and about if they do a little wee, because dogs do it. So what's the difference in my eyes? I don't think there's anything wrong. You can chuck it on the road. We actually use this quite a lot in the car because say the baby asks, say they want to go to the toilet. This is at a much later stage. This is probably, when did he start asking to go to the toilet? Sign language probably from 12 months, and then maybe speaking 18 months, saying shoo shoo. But if they do ask to go to the toilet and you're in the car and you just want to pull over, or you're in a car park or something and it's raining perhaps and you don't want to get them outside, you can just actually put that on front passenger seat perhaps and get baby to sit there, and then you just chuck it out of the car when you're done. So we love the carry potty. We actually have two. We leave one with the childminder, one here, and it's been infinitely useful. This is the one he enjoys the most now. It's like an actual toilet. I think it's more comfortable. Again, it has an insert, which is very useful. And you can just take that up and down. And it does look like a toilet, so you can transition to the toilet as well. They sort of get it. You can also get toilet seat reducers. Now, I wouldn't use those until they're quite steady on this one. And never ever leave them on their own with any of these potties, I wouldn't say, but definitely on the toilet because there's more height. But that can be a really nice way to interact with your baby, and they might see you on the toilet and actually want to go to an adult toilet and be like mummy or daddy. So you have to really vibe off what your child wants and just go for it. Think outside the box. Do whatever it takes to get them happy and excited to be going on the toilet. Whatever that may be. My son doesn't really like going into public toilets. I would much rather have him on the carry potty outside, but every baby is different, and this is the real lovely part of EC, is that you can connect with your baby and have that extra communication perhaps before they can communicate so easily with you. You might be thinking, when do I do all these things? So when they're first born, when you're breastfeeding or bottle feeding, perhaps whatever way you choose to feed your baby, then they're really relaxed during that time. Now, I breastfed, so that's my experience, but when I breastfed my baby when he was first born, I would say for the first couple of months, although I might be a bit ropey on my memory there of timing, I would like to go to the toilet while he was feeding because he just let everything relax. So I would let him feed like this, and I'd just have the potty underneath. Easy. And then, you know, he's all done. Actually, a really, really clever way babies will tell you when they're done, and this is mainly when they're very, very small, so from newborn until, I don't know, 9 months maybe, they will probably have a little wee first, and then they'll have their number 2. And then when they're finished, because it might be in drips and drabs, it's not like our number 2s. It's very soft. It's just like milk coming out. And they'll let off a little signal wee when they're done. So that's when you know. So you might not have done EC before, and you might have other children. And you might have found, oh gosh, they've done like 4 poos today. I can't believe I've just changed a nappy 4 times in a row. But actually they weren't done. That wasn't their whole... If you had them on the potty and then waited for their signal wee, they would be done. I'm like really sure of that. If they're well, if they're healthy, I'm really sure that would happen. So this is another really good thing about EC. They're communicating with you via that too. So initially when they're feeding, when they get to about 3-4 months, you might find that actually when you're doing this, they're not doing it anymore, and they don't actually like to go when they're feeding. They'll go afterwards. So you can keep them with their nappy on, or you can keep them with their pants on, whatever decisions you're making about dressing your baby at that time. But then when they're finished feeding, then you put them on the potty like this, in a slightly different way, slightly different position. So they're resting lovely on your tummy and they're comfortable. They've just had their food. Now, you might be thinking, when my baby feeds, they fall asleep on the boob or fall asleep on the bottle. In which case, don't worry about that. Just let them sleep, and then when they're awake, then you put them on the potty. So that's the next thing, is when your baby wakes up, they will need to go for a wee, just like you and I do. This is the easiest catch you can get. So they'll wake up, you take the nappy off or whatever they're dressed in, and you just hold them over the potty, and they'll go for a wee. And so it doesn't matter if they fed an hour ago and they've had an hour's nap. That's what generally happens, because you've got this hormone in your body that builds up as you sleep, and then when you wake up it goes and you wee. And that is just how we've grown with evolution, so we don't soil ourselves when we're sleeping. And it's very, very clever, and again, another way to learn about your baby. The other time I like to offer the potty, so you're only offering, if they choose not to go or they don't need to go, there's no issue. If you offer it and then they go in their nappy, these are all learning experiences, nothing wrong. But another time I would suggest is before or after being in something. So what I mean by that is either a carrier, or I mean a car seat or a pram or anything where they're kind of restricted. So you want to offer them the potty before they go in. And as well, when they come out of it, you want to offer them the potty because they've been restricted. They maybe don't want to actually do their business when they're all cooped up. The other thing is, if they are in a carrier, I find this a really good tool to look for their signals. My son didn't have many signals, but particularly when he was really small, if he fussed in a carrier, I'd take him out, put him on the potty, and he'd usually go. So that's a really good indication that they might need the toilet. If they're fed, if they're happy, everything else, and then they just start fussing when they're in a carrier, put them on the potty and voila. The time is at nappy changes, so if you're changing their nappy anyway, just put them on the potty. Sometimes I think having like the air there, a little bit of cold, or you're just offering as well. They know that when there's a nappy change, they can go on the potty, and they're learning that trust with you. So if you're really consistent, EC gets easier quicker, I would say. Try them on the potty before going out of the house and when you come back in. You will use nappy and pants as a backup, but view it as a backup. It doesn't matter if they go in there, but ideally you're trying to get everything in the potty. And don't put any pressure on yourself. Don't count how many wheeze and poos have gone in the potty that day. Don't do anything like that. Just live life, be happy with your baby, and you'll get some in and some will go in the nappy, and that is all absolutely fine. So you could use a disposable like this. I've got reusables as well, and also you can have these little pants. These are from Brightbots, and I really like them because the inside is towelled. So we generally just use these when he changed from nappies and reusable nappies into pants at 20 months. But they do come in small size. He's now in medium, and they come in a large size. We also had little tiny pants for like 0 to 3 month girls, frilly things. So they're not designed to be pants, they're designed to like go over nappies. But I would sometimes use that as his nappy free time when he was really, really little. So perhaps he's just gone on the potty. I know that he's like emptied himself and he's not going to go for a little bit. So I'd put these little pants on because I thought they were more comfortable than a nappy. And I also didn't want him to just be nappy free. I wanted to have him cozy. So I would put him in that. Sometimes he'd go to sleep, sometimes he wouldn't. And if he weed in them, it also did not matter. So don't worry about that at all. These are all learning experiences, and the time they can hold their bladder will change significantly as they get older. So when they're a newborn, they might need to go every 20 minutes, maybe less. And when they're, like now, he goes every 2 hours. He's 2 and a month. Every baby is different. I can't stress that enough. So the big part of this is just learning your baby and having that extra closeness. Way to make things a little bit cleaner, because yes, I've had poo down my trousers, I've had poo on the floor, you name it, we've had it. But a way to sort of protect your home if that's a big concern of yours, because downstairs we don't have any carpet, we've got this rug and we've just got tiles in the kitchen. So I'm quite relaxed with these things, but you can put a towel down if you want to, you know, I could be sat on a towel and putting the baby on the potty like this. I sometimes did that. I had a towel like by our bed upstairs because we do have carpet there, so kind of wanted to protect that. You could also just sit on your changing mat. Nappy free time is also a really good way to judge their signals. So like I said, my son didn't really have any, but your child might wriggle a little bit before they need a wee, and you don't want to have them just naked on the floor at all times staring at them, because I feel like you can get a bit too intense with it as well. But if you can notice little signals and then you learn that about your child and then that makes it easier, then great. Just see how you go. Don't put too much pressure on yourself. There's lots of different options. Your baby will like some of them, not like some of them. We've had potties that we've bought and he's hated, and we've given them away or thrown them away if no one wants them. And there's so many different learning opportunities, but I hope that's given you enough to perhaps get started. And if you've got any questions, put them below. If you think, what on earth is she talking about? I did it this way and I think it's better, please put that below as well, because we're all here to help each other. I hope you found that useful, and good luck.